So let's go and get in the mailbag.
Mailbag.
All right, let's start with the voicemail question.
Hey guys, I'm in a 10-man PPR. Our benches aren't really too deep, and I have a pretty good team here. I'm currently running 5-0, but Stafford has been just killing me, and I don't have the room to carry two quarterbacks. I got a lot of talent on my bench, and I'm wondering if I should drop Stafford. Now, mind you, we do have an IR spot, and I have Romo in there. So I'm wondering, like, is there a guy on the wire, like a Tannehill? There's even a Jameis out there, a few guys. What kind of quarterback could I possibly look at to replace Stafford over the next few weeks until Romo gets back? Hopefully I get it answered on the air. Thanks, guys.
I don't know if he's going to like the answer.
Is your answer to keep Stafford?
No, the answer is you listen to the streaming section of the show and you play one of those guys. Stafford, you can hold him if you want. He takes on the Vikings, who actually have a decent defense up in Minnesota. The Chiefs, that'd be a great matchup if you had him. The Packers had been solid until the Phillip Rivers game, so I'm still not sure.
Yeah, but the
what's going on
Packers
with
come
them.
after a bye. So the next 2 weeks for him are Minnesota and Kansas City.
I wouldn't want to play Stafford in either game.
I would love to play. I'd play
him
Stafford
against the
Kansas
Chiefs.
City, but that's 2 weeks from now. So I agree with you. I would listen to the streaming section. I mean, if you look,
Bortles?
yeah, not exactly Bortle. I mean, we haven't. That's going to be on tomorrow's show. So listen tomorrow, and you'll hear our picks for the next week because we're going to do a lot more research today. And not to toot our own horns too much, but the last few weeks, our guys that we've been picking who are freely available on the waiver wire have been outperforming. All of the normal starters. So I think you're safe to do this. And that's why, just a reminder for next season, that's why we say don't spend your high picks on a quarterback.
There's very few, to me, plug-and-play quarterbacks. I mean, you have Rodgers.
Brady.
Brady.
Luck.
Luck, who finally bounced back with a 3-touchdown game.
Dalton.
Dalton
funny,
has
but it's
no,
true.
Dalton has earned his way into that situation, but maybe Palmer, but Palmer's he's struggled for fantasy recently, even though he's putting up yardage, he's not scoring. But I mean, there's very, very few guys who you say, screw it, I don't care about the matchup, I'm just going to play that guy. Maybe Newton is in that conversation, but other than that, there is a ton of guys who are available, like a Brian Hoyer, because they're trash. That's what the public conception of them is. They're not good, but it's a quarterback. It's a passing league. They're just the points are there as long as you're paying attention to the matchup.
I agree. And just a reminder to everybody, you can leave us a voicemail question at 302-464-TFFB. You can go to the website, submit a question, thefantasyfootballers.com. Nick writes in from Malta. He says, going into tonight's game, he is 6 points down in a PPR league. Ryan Matthews or Sproles tonight.
Ooh.
Opponent has no one left to play. And he says he's looking forward to more WaterBet videos.
The WaterBet videos are being edited.
Yeah, they were already done and paid out for last week.
Oh my gosh! Stay tuned for that, by the way, because let's just put it this way. This is all I'll say. I spun the wheel to get paid out, and I had to do what was called the English channel.
Oh yeah!
So just be ready for that.
Finally, we got it.
And it turned out.
I have a similar story to you on our waivers this week. I actually went, and I don't understand it because it was 8 in the morning. It was before waivers go through, but Sproles was locked. I didn't understand that at all. I couldn't pick him up, or I couldn't drop anybody on my team. Is the problem? I could pick him up, but I couldn't drop somebody who played at 9.
You might have had afternoon game guys then.
Maybe they were all afternoon. I don't know, but I do like Sproles a lot.
You're probably just doing it wrong.
The
just like your life.
Hey.
I think it's a good question, but you probably still have to go Ryan Matthews here.
Matthews for sure.
Yeah, well, the only question is that groin, and we haven't had any update on Ryan Matthews.
No, he's practiced, and I think.
Has he?
Yeah, he has.
Full PPR league.
I can double check that just because I don't want to say the wrong thing. But I had read Matthews this morning.
Here's my thought. Depending on Ryan Matthews' health, if you read up before the game that Ryan Matthews is okay, or they're going to test it, or it's a game time decision, then go with Sproles because you know he's going to play. He only needs 6 points, and in a PPR setting, I'm really hard pressed to believe that Darren Sproles doesn't get 6 points. I mean, if he gets, 4 catches, 3 catches for 30 yards,
right?
That's it. And when we were previewing this game last week, the New York Giants defense has been giving up all of those little screens over the top. That's why I picked Zach Ertz as my player of the week for tight end, was because I said Sproles and Zach Ertz, those are the 2 players that are going to exploit that. So
right.
if Matthews is playing and he's healthy, he's probably going to get more usage than Sproles.
Yeah, you have to monitor that before the game. The groin injury only popped up on Friday. He went through practice on Saturday, but that's just a walkthrough. So he's expecting to play, but if for some reason, he's not, then start the safer Sproles health-wise. Jason in New York City.
New York City?
There you go. I was waiting for it. Pretty simple. Do you think that strength of schedule is a valuable tool? He needs expert advice before he makes trades for players because they have a strong schedule in the fantasy playoffs. Yeah, so talk about that. This will be our kind of wrap-it-up question here. Strength of schedule. Do you start to pay attention to that now when you trade for guys? Because you have you're 5-0, you're 4-1, you think you're going to be in the playoffs, but your guys have really tough appearances in terms of the strength of schedule.
100% you use it. I have not offered a trade or considered making a trade at this point in this last week without at least looking at the schedule. That's not to say you overreact and you go, oh, this guy's got a bad matchup in week 13, so I can't have him. But I couldn't imagine making a trade without doing the research of what's this guy's schedule look like versus another guy, because half of the year is almost gone fantasy-wise. And so if you just look at 2 average players and one of them has a good schedule coming up who's had a bad one, that's really valuable information. That I know you, Andy, you have always known. Every time I've ever seen you make a trade, you actually know who, not only the matchup in the NFL, but also the matchup of your opponents. And a lot of times you'll make trades with guys that I'm playing this guy in week 7 and he's going from his team to my team. You look at those things. They're just unfair advantages that you utilize.
I agree. I've started to look at playoff schedules when I'm looking at a target. No, but you got to understand, like, against the defense, things can change so quickly, which is why we try not to overreact to the opening schedule of when you're drafting a player. Like, oh, he's got a terrible schedule. Yeah, well, then Bobby Wagner gets hurt, and all of a sudden a notoriously tough run defense, Jonathan Stewart puts up almost 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yep. Like, one player injured changes an entire defense, so it's hard to make that your be-all, end-all for something that's happening in 8 weeks or so. But I do start looking at that and using it as an influencer.
Sure.
In the trade.
One more quick one. Jai wants to know thoughts on dropping Karlos Williams for Christian Michael.
Yeah, I think you can do it. I'll say that if you have LaShawn McCoy, and I don't know,
if I had McCoy, I wouldn't do it.
I probably would not do it. But we have no idea what Michael's going to do, and I say that as the ultimate Michael truther. But if he's given the opportunity and he succeeds, this is a league-winning move. If all of a sudden you get a running back 1 off of the waiver wire, your team has a huge advantage. Is you look through past history. I only have recent in my head, but Odell Beckham Jr. If you picked Odell Beckham Jr. up for free in week 6, your chance of being
he was the most owned player
in championship weeks.
Yeah, by
because
percentage.
you got a free top 5 guy. If you get a free running back 1, you got to go for it.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying there. That is it for today's show. We want to thank you for joining the Fantasy Footballers today.
We did a marathon today.
I know, it was a little longer. We have a waiver wire show tomorrow. We'll be reviewing the Monday Night Football game and all that transpires this evening. I want to remind everybody, if you want to help the show out, you can visit us on jointhefoot.com, our fantasy football community. Get exclusive episodes, content, things that you don't just get through the podcast. And also tell a friend about the podcast. Tell them to check it out. It doesn't have to be someone in your league. You can leave those people out of it. That way you can take care of business in your league.
If you are a YouTuber
yeah,
and our paleness offends you, go to jointhefoot.com. We have an impending spray tan.
Oh, that's
yes,
funny.
the spray tan reward is coming on jointhefoot.com.
We will be,
and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
We will be bronze beauties.
Oh, are we getting the like bodybuilder bronzing?
Yeah, where they
yes,
they
please.
accent and they highlight muscles.
Yeah, I
so all
want
of a sudden
painted on. I want painted on.
I want
abs.
them. See, if I could do the bronzing for one show, that would be.
The problem is it sticks for like 3 weeks.
Oh, I'm
those
pumped.
bodybuilders. I don't think they stick for 3 weeks.
Oh no, not the.
No,
Like,
it's because they have real muscles.
Ah.
That usually sticks around.
I'd like some. Can I just get a spray muscles as well? Can you spray those on?
You have to. You could just wear like the muscle bodysuit from Arrested Development.
I'll work on that before the spray tan.
$3,000 suit. Come on.
All right, that's it for the show. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take care.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.